We're the bees in society. We work hard. We study hard. And even though we are busy little bees, we can still be cool and still have a passion for life. Now guys, that is actually off of Be Cool Bikes website. I got a chuckle out of that, so I had to share it with you. Now, this is the second bike I reviewed of theirs. This is called the Pathfinder. A couple months ago, I reviewed their Explorer, which is in the same price range as this one, from $1,000 to $2,000 off-road bikes. And the Explorer has the best performing bike in this price range. And so far, the Pathfinder is doing pretty good as well. The Pathfinder costs $1,899. There's a lot of competition in this price range, so let's see how it does, starting off with the speed test. The Pathfinder has a 750 watt, 1100 brushless gear hub motor in that rear wheel, and that's powered with the 48 volt, 20 amp hour lithium battery, which is the second largest battery of 21 amp hours. Now the battery is built into the frame, looks nice and sleek, but it can be removed with the two keys they give you, and takes 5 hours to recharge and has a rating of 900 charge cycles. And it has a 350 weight capacity, which is average for other bikes in this price range. Now Be Cool doesn't have a speed rating for this bike, so again, that's why you have me. I'm gonna show you how fast this can go on all 5 of the pedal assist levels. Okay, let's see how fast this can go. Pedal assist level 1 first. 1 is 6. 2 is 11, 3 is 17, 16, 17. 4 is 20, 21, and 5 is 24. Well, now we know how fast it can go, 24 miles per hour on pedal assist, and that is 2 less than the average for this price range of 26. There's a good separation between all speed modes too, so you do have a wide variety of wide range of how fast you want to go from 1 to 5. And I noticed that the screen was pretty close to what my app was displaying. Usually there's about a 2 to 3 discrepancy there, but their speedometer is very accurate with my app. Now that we know how fast it can go, it's time to show you how long it takes to hit that 24 mile per hour speed. This is the acceleration test. Now the bike is one of the heftier bikes in this price range at 81 pounds. It's actually the second heaviest, and it can hold up to 300 pounds, which is average for a bike in this price range. Most bikes in this category take about 9 seconds to reach 20 miles per hour. I'm gonna show you how fast this can get up on pedal assist 5 and straight throttle. This is the acceleration test on pedal assist level 5 first. Gonna start off in the first gear. I've got a full battery, speed app is open. Here we go. That's pretty strong acceleration. Not the strongest I felt, but nice and smooth. And as soon as I started turning those pedals, it engaged. Straight throttle acceleration test, here we go. Ooh, and that jumps as soon as I turn that. It starts. It's a heavier bike, and so it's not super fast off the line. It takes about probably 20, 30 feet for it to really ramp up. I'm going 23 right now, and I can still feel a good acceleration. Starting to top off here, 24, got down to 23, and that's about it. I feel like there's a little bit of a limiter on that. The motor sounded good. I felt like it wanted to give more power, but it just stopped as soon as it hit 23, 24-ish. The Pathfinder has a range rating of anywhere from 45 to 60 miles. Now, average range and elevation is about 15 miles with 800 feet of elevation gain for off-road riding. So I think we can easily hit that with this bike. The terrain I'll be testing this out on is kind of hard pack. I'm out here in the desert. There's gonna be no paved riding at all. And while I'm on the range test, I do have this microphone hooked up. I'll tell you all the things I liked and didn't like about the bike. I actually started the tracking app a couple miles ago when I was by my truck. I did have a full battery at that time, so let's see how far I can go. I always like to mention the thing that stands out the most with bikes, and the first thing I noticed with this one is the crater-free welding. This is nice and smooth. They've done a very good job with that. There is some harder welding down by the control box, but up top, the places that you actually look at the most, it's nice and smooth. Now there's two colors to this model. This is called the Aurora, and they also have a black model as well. Now it does come with two fenders. They've already placed the rear one on for you. The front one is the same size as the back. I just don't put it on because I do use my bike rack a lot to go to different places, and it kind of jacks up the fender when I do that, and I just don't like the look. And there's also a rear rack, which I didn't add either. That does have a weight capacity of 60 pounds. There's some bikes that I can just take out of the box and immediately feel comfortable letting loose, riding without any hands. This is one of them. And the handling is actually pretty stiff. You turn and it pulls you right back straight up, which I do like. It just makes the bike very easy to ride. Now they've rated this bike to fit a rider 5'2" up to 6'3". If you're on the small end of that, you're gonna feel like this is a lot of bike. I'm 5'11" and I feel like it's a lot of bike. As far as cracks and noises, motor noise, very quiet there. The first day I rode this, I took it on this motorcycle track, and it was pretty heinous terrain. I came back from riding that day and I needed like a couple days to recover. I know what you guys are saying, this is an electric, how much of a workout can you get with an electric bike? Well, you can. You can get a pretty good workout. It all depends on where you want to go. So I'm the type of guy that if I see a trail, I gotta go on it. I gotta know where it ends, where it goes. Anyway, I hit some pretty rough sections, and if anything was gonna shake loose or rattle, I probably would have done it through that ride. But nothing has. It's very quiet. There's no rattling, no shaking. It's a well put together bike. It feels like a more expensive bike. Well, let me dive into the specs of the bike. It comes with custom formed aluminum 25-inch length, 4-inch rise handlebars. And honestly, for a bike this size, I'd like to see 27, 28-inch span. It does feel a little small for how big this is. Well, on each end, it has durable imitation leather ergo grips. It's actually a very nice feeling fabric. I do like the grips. I haven't had any hot spots or sores, which is pretty impressive after that first day of riding. Next are the aluminum alloy comfort grip brake levers. They also feel nice, and they cut the motor as soon as they're pressed. But the bike has a Shimano SL TX50 speed thumb shifter, and that's matched with the turning derailleur, and that's pretty standard for a bike in this price range as well. The plush seat is pretty large, and there is a carrying handle on the back end, which is nice to haul this around. Now that's one of the more comfortable seats I felt. I've got no problems or issues with that. Now they have added suspension under that saddle and a suspension seat post. I've noticed I've been sitting down a lot more for this review than I have with other bikes. I dare even say it's the most comfortable seat system I've been on for a bike in this price range. There is a front fork hydraulic suspension with lockout and adjustment, and 120 millimeters of travel. And I've only bottomed the suspension out a couple times. It's one of the nicer ones I've seen. And then last up is the 24x4-inch TPI all-terrain fat tires. And those tires are nice and beefy. They've got some great traction and grip. I've only slipped out a couple times. And that's when I'm going up on some of these sidewalls where the motorcycles and ATVs have gone. So of course I'm going to slip out on stuff like that. Well, I'm getting good at not making it back to my car at the end of the range test. I got stuck out here on the trail. Luckily, there's just a, if I can point right, just a ravine right there that where the bike died. So it was a pain in the butt trying to get this up there. Just a short and steep jaunt up to where I'm at now, but man, you don't want to get caught out in the desert with this bike. It's a good workout pushing this thing. Anyway, the range was fantastic, elevation as well. I got 21.5 miles for the range with over 2,200 feet in elevation gain. And that is very similar to the elevation gain that I got with their previous model. There's no other brand that comes close to that for off-road riding with that elevation gain. It's just insane. I don't know what these guys have done, but they have made an awesome bike. This is my top rated, top performing bike that I would recommend the most to you guys. It's awesome. And most of the time I was using the throttle, there was very little pedaling. So that's the type of range, type of elevation that it can handle when you're pretty much using full throttle. There's some pretty gnarly terrain. I was in a couple of these washes where I was going through 2-3 inches of sand for a couple miles. I didn't get that part on film, but it was, I could tell it was really bogging down the motor, but it powered through. And so anyway, now you know what it can do. I want to talk a little bit about the throttle and pedal assist sensitivity. There's a half twist throttle on the right side. And let me just get going here. So going about 15 miles an hour, if I release, power shuts off almost immediately when I engage, and it is very responsive. It kicks on right away. And again, it is a heavier bike, so it does take about a half a second for the power to really ramp up. It's kind of a slower acceleration. And if you barely turn the throttle too, it'll just slightly go. So it's like a gas pedal. It gives you power the more you press, the more you turn it. And it doesn't match the pedal assist level. It gives you full power no matter what. And even when you're on pedal assist 0, which I am right now, you still have the throttle. For the pedal assist sensitivity, I'm gonna crank it up to the 7th gear. I'm on pedal assist 1 right now. And just casually pedaling, there's some pretty good resistance. I'm on a flat stretch of road as well. Going about 13 miles an hour. And if I increase my pedaling, I can get it up to 16, 17, really starting to feel a burn now. Level 2, casually pedaling, as you would expect, a little less resistance than on 1. And that's a good mix right there. If you want to get a good workout, have a little bit of a burn, I would stick to pedal assist 2. Now on PAS 3, there's a pretty big separation in power between 2 and 3. With my same cadence, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure, but the bike is doing about 90% of the work. And pedal assist 4, that's pretty much, pedal assist 4 is pretty much where the bike takes over. All you gotta do is keep the pedals turning. If I, again, try to pedal a little bit harder, faster, I can increase it about 2 or 3 miles per hour. And then pedal assist 5, again, the bike's doing all the work. On pedal assist 5, when taking the bike flat out, if I stop pedaling, it cuts off again almost immediately. It's very responsive. And then when I begin to pedal, it does take, that's a little downhill section, so I don't know if that's fair. It took about 3 revolutions for the power to kick back on. I'm gonna try that one more time. Stopping, power cuts off almost immediately. And this is a flat stretch here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's still about 2.5 to 3 revolutions before the power kicks back on. And again, it's very gradual. Really, the power kicks on after about 5 or 6 revolutions. So as far as power turning off, it's very responsive. Coming back on, there is a longer delay than I'd like to see for a bike in this price range. The throttle, though, going off and on is very responsive. I do like the throttle. A bike is only as good as it's able to climb hills. This is the hill test section of the review. Now, there's no hill rating for this bike, which makes me a little bit nervous. I don't know why they didn't add that, but it does produce, or the motor produces 80 Newton meters of torque, which is a little bit less than average. Most bikes in this price range are about 85 to 86. I'm gonna scout out a good sized hill and show you what this thing can do. Okay, I found a decent sized hill. There's actually not a lot of super steep hills in this area. But again, I've got my device here, so this is where it begins. Take a measurement here. That's 14.9%. This is a pretty good length too. It's got to be over a block long. I might not walk up the entire thing, but there's another spot that I wanted to measure it at. And that is 15.8%. And that seems to be kind of standard. Probably 15 to, that's a little bit steeper up there, 20% grade. But it's the super powdery dirt too. And as you can see, it's not really hard. Good test to see how this bike is gonna handle. I've got close to a full battery. These bikes' batteries just go on and forever and ever. So close to a full battery. My speed app is open. I'm on pedal assist 5. Gonna do a combination of throttle and pedal assist and start to climb here. Motor's humming at me, but yeah, it's making it up this just fine. This little tricky part, only down to 7. Got on the easiest gear. I've got some barely any resistance. Bike's doing most of the work. And woo, over the top. So yeah, you could definitely do steeper. I would even say, 20, 25. So it's a heavy bike, but it's got some great power. And of course, now it's a brake test. This does come with dual 180mm hydraulic brakes. Let me show you how well they do. Okay, coming down the same hill, I just went up for my hill test. This is the brake test. And this trail is super powdery. It hasn't rained in, 2 or 3 months down here. So this is just air float dust, which I've noticed does make the brakes squeak a little bit. Here we go. So lightly applying them here. Yeah, they're singing at me a little bit. But you got hydraulic brakes, so it's just nice and smooth. Got great stopping power. Even on this powdery stuff, my back tire's sliding a little bit. But no complaints with the brakes, very nice. I'll give you a rundown over the LCD screen and control pad. On the left is the pad. On the top there's the power button. And the screen is a little bit dim. I wish that was brighter. It is a sunny day, and I can see it, but it's just not as bright as I'd like. But it is a LCD color display, which is pretty awesome. And what's cool about this is the battery level. It's kind of a L-shaped design. And on the other side, you have a L-shaped design of the power output. So as you're riding, you can see how much power you're using. On the left, there's an M button, and that just scrolls through different readouts, as you can see here. Then an up and down arrow to change the pedal assist level, and that's 0 to 5. Now, the only advanced setting that I could find is if you hold down the M button, that does take you to this screen where you can clear all the data. And I haven't been able to figure out any other way to access other settings. I don't know if they just made it impossible to do that, or if this is all the advanced settings that you have, but that's all I figured out. If I do, I'm gonna ask the company, and if there's a way to change them, I'll post that information in the description. Hold down the top arrow to turn on the lights. There's a headlight. I didn't add it. I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't feel like adding it today. And then there is a rear rack as well, and on the back of that rack, there's a tail light, and there's also turn signals on that tail light as well. I just like to keep the bike as light as possible for off-road riding, which is why I didn't add that. But the turn signals are here, left and right. And then there's a horn right here, which isn't working because the light is not plugged in. If you hold down the bottom button there, that is the walk assist mode. Oh, it's taken off on me. And that does go about 3 miles per hour. And again, we'll stop as soon as you take your finger off that. And that's pretty much it. That's the overview of the screen and control pad. Now, as far as after sales stuff, I looked online on their accessories and replacement parts, and they've got like 2 pages of parts. So they are well established as far as it comes to, you know, replenishing and fixing bikes after you buy them if anything does go wrong with them. There's also a warehouse in California, so they can get that item out to you pretty quick if you do have any problems. Well, overall, if you couldn't tell from the review, I really like this bike. It's, again, the best performing bike, this one and its counterpart, the Explorer, the best two performing bikes in this price range. The comfort, the range, the elevation gain, the terrain that I took it through, and how it handled that terrain is just fantastic. I would definitely recommend this bike. If you want to pick it up, I've got the link in the description. Before you go, hit that like button and please subscribe for the latest in electric bike, board, and scooter reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.